goodness. Friday Night SmackDown, ladies and gentlemen. It's been pretty decent for the last 2 weeks, I gotta admit. That says a lot coming off of what has largely been a very down 2025 for the Blue brand. Tonight, not the most exciting show on Friday night, man. Largely boring. Nothing too eventful happened on the show. We did get a great match, though, which is not a surprise from my guy Dragonov. His first match in a line of many, hopefully. Defending the United States Championship. Taking on the open challenge from Sami Zayn. He went one-on-one with Aleister Black. Gee, I wonder where they got their entrance influence from. And Jade Cargill turns heel. And this guy right here actually enjoyed the segment. We'll talk about that and the rest of this lame duck Friday Night SmackDown as we head into Saturday night's main event next week. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dodgers are losing 11-2 against the Blue Jays. All in all, it's not that bad of an evening. And then we're going to the venue inside my mother's basement. And when I get there on this Friday night, I want to know, what the fuck are you guys drinking? I'll see you over there.
Why has Triple H been so successful? Why is Triple H running WWE better than Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard on Monday and Friday night? Long-term booking.
What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is your Friday Night SmackDown Post Show for October 24th, 2025. I'm your host, JD from New York, as always, coming to you live from the OTS venue inside my mother's basement. Where else would I be? On this Friday night, wherever you may be. SmackDown was pretty boring tonight, fellas and ladies. Not really all that into the show tonight. Nothing really exciting happened. Just gonna throw it out there. Pretty much a lame duck show. We did get a major heel turn and a great United States Championship match, which seems to be the most common thing week to week, especially on Friday night. Dragonov beat Sami Zayn last week for the United States Championship after 7 straight title defenses. Great series of matches that Sami Zayn put on. A very memorable title reign. Dragonov is now the new champion. He has taken that over from Sami, and he started with Aleister Black tonight, which was probably the best thing on the entire show, as is a lot of what Dragonov is and will be a part of. He's just a great professional wrestler, and I think he's fantastic. All in all, this was a lame duck show. I want to start with the Jade Cargill stuff, as honestly, as far as events or happenings on the show, this is probably the most newsworthy of the evening. And as I see on social media, Triple H just announced legitimately as of 3 minutes ago, Triple H has announced that Jade Cargill will now challenge Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship at Saturday night's main event. One night after she turns heel, because Tiffany Stratton has no other opponents and no other challengers. I have been very hard on Jade Cargill since the first day I saw her on AEW television. Obviously, she looks the part. She looks like she's sculpted from fucking granite. She looks like she could legitimately be a statue outside of the Roman Colosseum. She looks great. I think everybody with a set of fucking eyeballs could see that. Not many people look like her. Doesn't matter what you look like, in my opinion. If you can't get it done in the ring, if you can't cut it on the microphone, the interest level is just not going to be there. As far as a fan and watching someone like that in this sport, if you can't tie everything together to make it work in a complete package, it is just not going to generate interest. From the first day that we saw her, she generated manufactured right out of the factory. Let's put her on TV because she looks like $1 bazillion. It's basically what it is. She didn't really do anything in AEW. Oh, but she held the championship for 54 straight defenses, JD. What title? A dead title that is now being held captive around someone who's parading around with 14 fucking titles. It doesn't mean anything. So much for that record was broken this past week. She has not tied it together in the ring. She's still very much, for lack of a better term, she sucks. And that's just me coming from a fan's perspective. I think there are a lot of people who think the same way that I do. Most of them are blinded because she looks like she's $1 bazillion. She can't cut a promo. She can't sell for shit. Half the time, she doesn't know how to go from sequence to sequence and flesh out a match where it just seems like a seamless thing to do. Almost like watching an Olympic swimmer. They go from one end to the next, and then the next one comes in. It's like, it's just watching poetry in motion, man. You don't skip a beat. There's not many people in the world of professional wrestling that can take a match and just let it flow. And it's like a piece of work, a work of art. Jade Cargill is certainly not that. Do we expect her to be that? Do we expect her to be as magnificent as Bret the Hitman Hart? No. No, I'm not expecting that. But after 4 years of watching this woman on national television, you'd think she'd be better off now than when she first started, and she's not. Let's be honest. The babyface thing did not work. Nobody believed in Jade Cargill from a babyface point of view. She spoke like a heel. She carried herself like a heel. Yet she's acting babyface and trying to win the fans over because she's got a lot of muscles. And they tried to pair her with Bianca Belair. They can't boo Jade Cargill if she's teamed with Bianca Belair. It was a narrative that they pushed to try and manufacture this woman in the wrong way. Nobody knew who she was. But they thought the best idea was to pair her with Bianca Belair, who everybody loves. They can't boo Jade Cargill if she's paired with Bianca Belair. That's for the simpletons. That's for the brain dead. The ones that suffer from brain rot every day. I saw right through what they were doing. I'm not going to cheer Jade Cargill all because she's standing next to Bianca Belair. I know why you did it, and I know what you were going for there. All because she looks like $1 bazillion doesn't mean that the fans are going to enjoy her because she's standing next to Bianca Belair. You gotta live up to who you're standing next to. And you didn't. And there was no way that you could. It was so fake that I had zero interest in anything she did, even teaming up with one of the best, if not the best, that the division has to offer. Now, I know she was given the red carpet treatment coming over from AEW, and WWE wanted to shove it in AEW's face, and they made a big deal about it. They made it seem like Otani was a free agent and the fucking Yankees signed them. Or not even Otani. That's a terrible example. She's nowhere near the greatness of Otani. It's like I'm gonna date myself here. It's like me being an Atlanta Braves fan and the Yankees signed Mark Lemke to a fucking multi-billion-dollar contract to play second base for the New York Yankees. I'm sorry. I mean, all because he's going to a world-renowned franchise. He's all of a sudden now the best second baseman in the league? And I'm supposed to acknowledge this guy's existence now? I don't get it. It's exactly what Jade Cargill was given. A red carpet treatment, undeserved, and they were forcing her so much upon the fan base as this big deal, and she's proven not a single fucking thing in the realm of professional wrestling. Everything that they've done for this woman has backfired and worked in a negative way, and the fans' perception on Jade is because of WWE's doing. She's a manufactured product. They can't do anything else with her because she's not good at what we call professional wrestling. She's simply getting by on her looks. And if this is sounding a little bit too harsh for people, I'm sorry. If you want me to sugarcoat something, you got the wrong fucking show. Go listen to somebody else that's going to glaze these fucking athletes thinking that they could get into some sort of fucking relationship or some sort of partnership with these companies and these performers, and I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. This is my point of view. This is how I feel. This is what I think, and if you don't like it, tough shit. Then tonight happened. She wrestled that triple threat match several weeks ago, which was a disaster with Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax. That match where she ended up busted open and suffered a huge gash right above her eyebrow that needed several staples to close up. She looked like a warrior out there. That match with the botch finish, you guys remember. So that happened. Tiffany beat Nia. Jade was out of commission for a few weeks. And she comes back. And she's dressed in black leather pants with chains. And she's got this necklace around her neck with spikes on it. And she's got this crazy hair. And she's got this scar above her eyebrow from the incident that happened a few weeks ago with Nia Jax. She comes on out and she celebrates with Tiffany Stratton after Tiffany Stratton defeated Kiana James tonight. And I just kind of sensed the way that she was acting that something was going to go awry. And that's exactly what happened. Jade Cargill ended up turning heel on Tiffany Stratton. Beat the shit out of her, tossed her on her ringside for a little bit, throw her over the announce desk. Picked up the world championship, eyed it, has made her mission now known to everybody. She wants the women's world championship. Do I think Jade Cargill is worthy of the women's world championship because now she all of a sudden turns heel? The answer is no. No, I do not think she is deserving of the world championship. You went from one shitty situation into something now that hopefully works, and all of a sudden, because you changed presentation and you changed character, meanwhile, you went from one point to the next without actually wrestling for anything, you want me to believe that she is now worthy of the Women's World Championship? The answer is no. But a blind man can see where they're going here. Tiffany's World Championship reign is now in serious jeopardy because WWE clearly has their next big heel in the division. And when that big heel eventually wins the championship, it's a foregone conclusion that she will. I don't know if it's going to happen on Saturday next week or if it's going to happen at some point before the end of the year. When she wins the women's championship, there will be one woman who will come back, and that's exactly what they're aiming for at WrestleMania. It will be Bianca Belair against Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. You could see what they are going for and how they are scripting the women's division. All things aside, Jade Cargill sucked as a babyface. She played the role poorly because she wasn't a believable babyface. I did not believe her in that role. That was not somebody that I wanted to cheer. That is not somebody that I felt bad for. That is not somebody that I emotionally attached myself to from a viewer's point of view to a performer's point of view. I don't know how you could. The only people that were emotionally attached to Jade Cargill are the ones who were drooling over her Instagram pictures. Jade Cargill is now in the right role. Now she's in a role where I believe her. Now she's in a role that at any point when she speaks, I'm going to look at the real Jade Cargill. I'm going to look at Jade Cargill for who she really is away from television. The Jade Cargill that you got on television was trying to be somebody else. Actually, the Jade Cargill that we got before was Jade Cargill in real life, but trying to be someone else on TV. Now we're kind of getting into a situation where the Jade Cargill that we get in real life is the Jade Cargill that we're going to get on TV. And when you actually create a character in that sense, they are much more enjoyable to watch. And they are much more enjoyable to listen to. Again, does that mean she deserves the Women's World Championship? No. You got to prove it in the ring. You got to prove it to people like me. And we have not done that yet, and I doubt that they're going to do that between now and Saturday night's main event. What this also does, and many people won't be thinking about this, what this also does is now gives Jade Cargill an opportunity to maybe, I don't want to say enhance her ring work, but give her an opportunity to work a much different style. Instead of playing up the fans and trying to be fake and unnatural and be somebody that she's not, now she can work a heel style, which may actually benefit her lack of knowledge and ring awareness in the ring and her lack of skill in the ring. It opens her up to a world of new possibilities where she can now work heel, work a little bit more of a methodical style. You don't have to go out there and do flashy shit. You don't got to go out there and use your strengths to pop the crowd. You don't got to do any of that. You now control the narrative. You have these people in the palm of your hand, and you dictate what's going on. That's what a heel does. Make me dislike you. I think Jade is going to be very good at that. Make me want to see you lose. I think Jade Cargill is going to be very good at that. So I feel with this heel turn, I think it's WWE finally realizing after 2 years now with Jade Cargill on the roster where she needs to be and how we get her to the next level. Because if I'm WWE and I'm looking at the lack of growth from Jade Cargill with what we've seen so far, there is zero return on that investment. And the only reason why they signed her was to make AEW look bad. Ha, look at us. We took one of your day oneers and we made her into a household name. They haven't. Hopefully this is the way that WWE finally gets her to that position. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that's the way that I look at it. From my point of view, she's going to be very good in this role. The other big thing that happened tonight was they at least told Jimmy Uso's story on Friday Night SmackDown. Carrying over from Monday Night Raw, he's upset that Jimmy's upset that Jay had betrayed him, quote unquote, in the Battle Royal, even though Jimmy on Monday Night Raw said that he's coming for everybody, including his brother, in the Battle Royal, and he will win the Battle Royal, even if he has to eliminate his brother. He said that directly to Jey Uso on Monday night, and then Jey Uso went right ahead and did what Jimmy was saying he was going to do. So why he's so upset at the end of the day, I don't know. But he feels like his brother betrayed him. And if you look at the Battle Royal, it almost feels like he did, because Jimmy actually saved Jay a couple of times from being eliminated in that Battle Royal, which he eventually won and now is the number one contender and will challenge CM Punk for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday night's main event. He came over from SmackDown. This is his show. He wants to get out there. He's got a chip on his shoulder now. But at the same time, he's also concerned for his family. Not only is he concerned for Jay, he's concerned for Jacob. He's concerned for Jacob Fatu. And he wants to know who attacked Jacob Fatu because that's his family. And he wants to find whoever did this and take it out on them. He feels like Drew McIntyre is the one who took out Jacob Fatu. I don't think Drew McIntyre is the one that took out Jacob Fatu. I don't. Drew McIntyre is basically playing the role of Kevin Owens in the role that Kevin Owens played in January. Everything that Kevin Owens said, Kevin Owens was true. And he was open and he was honest and he just expressed his truths. And he got people to boo him for it. But everything Kevin Owens felt was justified. Everything that Kevin Owens did was justified. Drew McIntyre feels the same way. Drew McIntyre, I think, from a fan base perspective, I think Drew McIntyre has been royally screwed time and time and time again. And if there's somebody that's been undermined creatively all year, it's Drew McIntyre. So why wouldn't Drew McIntyre have a chip on his shoulder? Why wouldn't McIntyre express how he feels? We've seen it physically come upon him. He's been destroyed. He's been cheated. He's been robbed. He's been cast aside. Whether it's management, whether it's things that happen in matches with the referees, McIntyre's feelings are justified. So that's the type of heel that he's playing. And that's why I don't believe that Drew McIntyre is the one who attacked Jacob Fatu. I do think that it's going to end up being Randy Orton. I think Randy Orton is the guy who we've not seen on television. Inconspicuous has Randy Orton been. Not a single fucking mention, not an appearance on television. Drew McIntyre is not the guy who took out Jacob Fatu. Now, granted, they were supposed to wrestle, and that was supposed to be the Saturday night's main event match. It was supposed to be Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. They sped up the Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes feud to take place at Saturday night's main event and not Survivor Series. I just think that they went from one point to the next in the light of his dentals procedure that he needs time off for, and have slowly twisted the story to incorporate Randy Orton. And I think we really need to start seeing a sense of urgency creatively at the top of the card on Friday Night SmackDown. We need some excitement. We need some unpredictability. We need something that's going to generate a buzz. Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes, as great as they may be, they're not generating a buzz. It feels stale. Feels like it's just going in one direction. Very, very plain. There's no excitement. There's no peaks and valleys. It's just a straight line. There's no ups and downs. There's no excitement. There's no unpredictability. This is WWE's opportunity to inject some life in the main event scene by turning Randy Orton heel. If they're not ready to turn Cody Rhodes heel, Randy Orton turning heel. And Randy Orton costing Cody Rhodes the WWE Championship at Saturday night's main event and giving Drew McIntyre an opportunity to walk around as the rightful WWE Champion, if at only for a month. The script does not need Cody Rhodes to hold the championship after just beating John Cena all the way through the rest of the year and all the way through WrestleMania season. If you want to do a title change, I think that is a healthy thing for the division, and I think that's a healthy thing for the WWE Championship and for Cody Rhodes. Nowhere does it say, oh, he won it, and he beat John Cena for it. He won it back at SummerSlam. Now we got to keep it on him. If you feel that the product is stagnant and stale and formulaic, unexciting and unpredictable, or predictable in this case, make it unpredictable. Do something that's going to throw a wrench into that system. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. I would crown Drew McIntyre the WWE champion at Saturday night's main event. And I'm in 100% agreement with anybody that thinks that. I 100% agree. Dragonov wrestled Malachi Black, or Aleister Black. Malachi, Aleister Black. U.S. title open challenge. Great match. We are not done with Damian Priest and Aleister Black on Friday night. And we had the MFTs wrestle Rey Fenix and Shinsuke Nakamura. No Wyatt 6. So WWE is certainly keeping us on our toes. 4 weeks to go before Survivor Series. What is the War Games situation going to be? I have no idea. But we'll get into this. I feel like it's going to be a very slow evening here on a Friday night. And we'll get through this Friday night stream as quickly as we can right here on Off the Script. It is your Friday, October 24th, 2025. Tonight we are sponsored by BetterHelp. Make sure you guys go and check out my sponsor tonight, BetterHelp. All you need to do is go to betterhelp.com/scripts. Take that first step today and get 10% off your first month using betterhelp.com/scripts. I pinned the link right at the top of the live stream chat, and it's right down in the description of this very video. I want to thank you guys for joining me here on this Friday night. I also want to thank my guy Grimm's Toy Show. I know our audiences don't really overlap. I know a lot of his audience either doesn't watch me because they don't watch this type of content, or they don't like me because of the things that I say about professional wrestling and how strong I am in my opinions. But Grimm invited me out to his second ever GTS Wrestling live event last night in Brick, New Jersey. It was at Icarus Brewing. Brewery Brawl #2 for GTS Wrestling. He invited me down. It was a very lovely drive from where I am here in New York. At exit 89 off the Garden State Parkway. Had a couple of yummy beers there. Never actually been to Icarus Brewing, but he invited me down because of the setting. He knew I would like the setting, and he said, why don't you bring some equipment down and lay some commentary tracks over what we're doing? So I did. Packed a backpack with my Roadcaster and a microphone, and we went to work. So hopefully you guys get to see and hear that sometime this week on his channel. So I want to thank him for his hospitality. I want to thank his brother Duhop and my guy Jay Aletto, who I have not seen in many months. It was great to catch up with him as well. So I just want to say thank you to him, and hopefully we could get to do it again. The Dodgers, I think, either are on their way to losing or have lost game one of, it's the bottom of the eighth. It's 11-4. You know, this is coming from an Atlanta Braves fan that has had many years of playoff baseball. Heartbreaking playoff baseball. Mostly heartbreaking, with a win thrown in there a few years ago. I get that everybody is excited to see the evil empire take a loss. if there's one thing I can say about watching playoff baseball is that you can be happy that you won the opening game because that's a big momentum boost. But if you're celebrating after one game against arguably the best team in baseball with a $400 million payroll and maybe the best player in the entire league and probably the best player of the last several generations, I think that is foolish. You can be happy, have a couple cold ones in celebration, and put on that game face for Game 2 tomorrow. Do not celebrate because playoff baseball is a completely different beast. Do not celebrate early in playoff baseball because before you know it, that series is 3-1 Dodgers, and the Blue Jays are on the verge of an elimination game. Don't. Celebrate when it's over. I will say I am going for the Blue Jays, not because I have this overwhelming sense of hatred for the Dodgers. I don't hate the Dodgers. I just hate corporate baseball. I hate big corporations and big corporate fucking bigwigs, these suits and ties. I hate them. $400 million is unacceptable for a fucking singular team's payroll in 2025. Gone is the magic of baseball. The underdog, scrappy team who wins and gets by. That's why everybody's rooting for the Blue Jays. That magic is gone. The unpredictability is gone. The economic realm of the MLB is so far gone that the Dodgers losing, in my honest opinion, is nothing but a celebration for the MLB. It should be a celebration amongst the fans of Major League Baseball. To see the downfall of the Dodgers in this instance would be the best thing that baseball could see, honestly. It will prove that money is not everything. And it will prove that teams like the Dodgers and teams like the Mets and teams like the Yankees need to have a salary cap. There should be a salary cap in baseball to a point where teams are not allowed to spend what they want and swing the momentum in one way and one way only. I am so tired of teams like this because they have all the money pushing their weight around to win championships, leaving everybody else in their fucking dust. It's not right. And the Dodgers losing is only a great thing for baseball. Hopefully it opens the eyes of the brass over at the MLB. That's why I'm going with the Blue Jays. Just wanted to say that. See people celebrating and whatnot. Don't celebrate. It's not time to celebrate yet. Celebrate when the fucking game, or the series rather, comes to an end. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Check out the great content on the channel, man. We've been rocking and rolling for the better part of 3 weeks now. Consistent uploads. I took yesterday off because there wasn't really much to talk about. Plus, I went to go hang out with Grim and his crew over in Brick. But we're right back to the uploads tomorrow. We got some major news on Andrade again, where he actually may end up back in WWE. Not only that, but the rumors are starting to grow more and more on Chris Jericho ending up in WWE. So we bundle those two stories in one extra tomorrow. Make sure you guys go and check that out. I'll have that uploaded around early afternoon tomorrow on your Saturday. But go check out the rest of the content. We were live on Wednesday. Great discussion over there for Dynamite, which was a shit show. Tuesday Night Titans nearing 40,000 views with episode 117 with the Solid Monster. And Monday night, we were live for Monday Night Raw, the follow-up to The Vision turning on Seth Rollins. Again, we're sponsored by BetterHelp tonight. Thank you to them. Please leave me a thumbs up. Let's try for 750 likes. And make sure you guys leave a comment down below. All that helps us out in the YouTube algorithm. And a side note for anybody that is looking for new music. I have to talk music because I'm big on music. My guy Wolfgang Van Halen, his band Mammoth, just released their new album today. Go and check them out. He's got an unbelievable voice. He's an unbelievably talented musician. And I am going to see him perform live on November 14th in New Jersey. Edison, New Jersey, I believe, with Miles Kennedy. So go check that out if you guys are into some sophisticated hard rock with some nice catchy hooks and great choruses. There you go. Go check out Wolfgang. His band Mammoth put out a new album. They didn't pay me or hit me up to say that. I'm just spreading the good word of some good music. So there you go. SmackDown tonight. We start things off with Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso and Cody Rhodes. In fact, the cameras caught up to Jimmy Uso telling Cody Rhodes he appreciated what he did for his cousin Jacob Fatu last week. Cody asked what he was doing here. Jimmy says he was looking to talk to Nick Aldis because he wanted to talk about Jacob Fatu. Cody says his office is right around the corner, and he asked if things are okay between him and Jay after Monday night. Jimmy said he saw what happened and how he would feel. Cody says he has a brother in the game, so he knows how it goes. He said Jay is going to do what's right for him, so he told Jimmy to do what is right for himself, being that Jay took that and ran with it himself. Jimmy thanked him and appreciated it. They shook hands. And Jimmy is here on SmackDown looking for some answers in regards to Jacob Fatu. So they took that story of being and feeling betrayed by his brother to now looking for some news on his cousin. And he wants to know who attacked Jacob Fatu. So we could still be looking at a situation where the Usos and Roman Reigns, along with CM Punk, end up in War Games against, I don't know. I mean, a collection of the Vision, Lesnar, McIntyre. I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I would much rather see that because it's been building up all year instead of doing the MFTs and the Wyatt Six, who would be and feel forced in the War Games, especially if the Wyatt Six did not make a TV appearance tonight outside of Nikki Cross hanging around in a backstage segment with Chelsea Green, Alba Fire, and Julia. Cody Rhodes made his full entrance. They cut to commentary. Michael Cole is back with Corey Graves. It's the first time they've been together since Lesnar did attack Corey Graves right before WrestlePalooza. It's good to see Cody a little bit more composed tonight, says Corey Graves. Drew McIntyre is coming for Cody. And Cody is in the ring, asks the fans in Tempe, Arizona, what they want to talk about. He smiled and then said they could talk about his Saturday night main event opponent, Drew McIntyre. Fans booed. He says he did something uncharacteristic of himself last week and smacked Drew across the head with his title belt. He asked if he has to apologize for it, and the fans yelled no. What else would they say? Drew interrupted, and he walked through the crowd with a microphone. He told Cody to just stop because he didn't want any apology from him. He asked if the fans were really going to cheer Cody and boo him. Yes, they are. They're going to cheer Cody and boo Drew McIntyre. With all the evidence you've seen, you're going to cheer Cody Rhodes and you're going to boo Drew McIntyre? So he gets down to ringside. He stood on the announce desk and told fans they are now all complicit in his crimes. He says he thinks the fans are brainwashed by Cody's corporate propaganda. He said no matter what Cody does, they keep cheering him. He says he cheated at WrestlePalooza and hit him with the belt last week, yet they still cheer Cody Rhodes. Drew says he's been screwed so many times, this has now become about Drew McIntyre finishing his story. He said he'll finish it at Saturday night's main event. Drew said people want to know who attacked Jacob Fatu. He says he's always the scapegoat, though. He said, while he hates everyone in that family, I did not attack Jacob Fatu. He said maybe it was Jimmy Because Jimmy's always the bride and never, or always the bridesmaid and never the bride. Cody then all of a sudden yells, enough, enough. He says they should just fight right now. Just like last week, getting all angry. He's letting his anger get the best of him. He yanked off his jacket. Drew hopped off the announce desk. Jimmy Uso all of a sudden comes out of nowhere and he attacks ringside on Drew McIntyre, sending him into the announce desk. Security is out there quickly to separate them. Jimmy leapt through the ropes onto Drew again. Cody tried to get Jimmy, to back off, as a bunch of security and detail also did the same thing. And that's the way SmackDown and the opening segment came to a close. So I like the fact that they started Jimmy Uso's story coming off of Monday into Friday. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's looking for some answers on Jacob Fatu. He runs into Cody, who gave him advice in the weeks leading to that battle royal. Just giving him advice on Jey Uso. I like that they're telling these stories. It's just not particularly interesting, especially tonight. Like, Jacob Fatu's not there. We don't know who exactly is the culprit. We don't know who attacked Jacob Fatu. So it's just Jimmy there, basically operating solo, and he's wrestling Drew McIntyre because he feels like Drew McIntyre attacked his family. There was no Jacob Fatu. There was no Randy Orton. There was no culprit, no answers to attack Jacob Fatu, no Jay. So it's like, I get what they're going for, but it's not completely interesting because the other people that are much more interesting to this particular story are not there, and we have the least interesting of them all here on Friday night. I get where they're going, though. It could have War Games implications. It could. But that's the way SmackDown started, and that's the way the opening segment came to a close. McIntyre in the back. He argued with Nick Aldis about what just happened with Jimmy Uso, but again, Jimmy attacked him and jumped him out of nowhere. McIntyre was screaming as the officials again broke things up, and it was mass chaos in the back. Solo Sikoa. He comes out with the MFTs, motherfucking Tongans, because that's what it is. It's not my family tree. It's the motherfucking Tongans to me. They came out, made their way to the ring because they were involved in the opening match here. MFTs had all their faces painted white and black except for Solo. And we got a tag team match here with JC Mateo against, or JC and Tama Tonga. Yes, Tama Tonga and JC Mateo against Rey Fenix and Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, all of the MFTs are out there. Solo, Tangaloa, and Tala Tonga. Again, I am not particularly interested in what the MFTs are selling. They've done nothing to really give me a reason to care about these guys. They haven't given me any backstory on who they are or why I should care about them. And they put them in the ring to open SmackDown this week against the guys that they attacked over the last couple of weeks. Rey Fenix and Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, I don't really know where you expect me to go with this or what you want me to say about this, but that's what we got. You know, Rey Fenix, I don't know what they're doing with him. It's like almost every week he's got a different tag team partner. He's like the de facto tag team guy. Like, can we get him in something that's actually, I don't know, meaningful, fruitful, fun? The guy's way too talented to be mixing it up with the fucking MFTs. Nakamura, now a babyface again. He's got his old Rising Sun CFO theme from NXT Black and Gold, so people love him again. People love humming along to his theme and singing along to his theme. Nakamura and Tama Tonga started the match. He went on the attack against Nakamura, did Tama Tonga. He gets taken down by a knee. Fenix and Mateo tagged in. Fenix launched himself from the rope with a big arm drag as Nakamura entered the match with a blind tag. And we got some nice teamwork here by the babyfaces, and we go into a commercial break with the MFTs collectively retreating to ringside. Come back from the break. Tama Tonga is in there with Rey Fenix. Stops him from reaching his corner for a tag. Knocks him out with a lariat. JC Mateo tags back in. Slam Fenix with a big power bomb as the MFTs continued the momentum. Fenix, he got away, created some separation with an enziguri, and he tags Nakamura, who got the hot tag. Nakamura, he gets in there. He tried to lift JC Mateo up, but could not. Mateo came back with a twisting back suplex, and he took out Nakamura. Tama Tonga tagged back in. Fenix made his way back into the ring with a springboard on Tama Tonga. He followed that up with a goodbye amigo top rope kick. And things are breaking down here, which then led to Fenix leaping onto Tama Tonga and JC Mateo on the outside. As Fenix tried to go up top, Solo Sikoa used this time for a distraction, and Tola Tonga, behind the referee's back, chokeslammed Rey Fenix on the apron. That set up Rey Fenix to be hit with Tama Tonga. I don't know what he called it, the cutthroat. It was like basically a hidden blade from Will Ospreay. It's basically what it was. The cutthroat elbow. Took him out. 1, 2, 3. And the MFTs get the win over Rey Fenix and Shinsuke Nakamura. All right, we add another tag team. Let's look at the positives. There's not many. We get another tag team in the division. I guess you could use Freebird rules in this case if you want. It could be any mixture of the MFTs, which would actually be something good for them. We get another team in the division that's going to put on at least decent matches. Not particularly interesting, but at least decent matches. They look the part now with the face paint. But again, at the end of the day, I just can't bring myself to care about them because what WWE is trying to do, and they've moved away from it at least for the last several weeks, they're looking to make them the most dominant faction on Friday night. And I don't believe, at least from a storyline perspective, that the fans care about who they are. Like, Solo will get heat. Everybody else will get heat because they're affiliated with Solo. As long as they're standing behind Solo and Solo does his job as a bad guy, he's going to get the heat. But when you put these guys in the ring, and Solo has nothing to do with it, when you team Tama Tonga and JC Mateo, or Tangaloa and Tola Tonga, or any mixture of them, there's not anything particularly interesting about any one of these guys. That's the problem. Like, I'm not connected from viewer to performer. They're just there. There's no rhyme or reason. They're just another act on the show that's put in these situations, and WWE is trying to build them back up to be a dominating faction. The damage was done already. WWE made them the centerpiece of Friday Night SmackDown for months, and it not only destroyed the show, but it destroyed their presentation. It destroyed the entire group. We got so tired of them, and it went nowhere. Constantly battling their family, whether it was Jimmy or Jay or Jacob. Bro, there's only so much that you could do to the fan base. You did it, and it exceeded well beyond its expiration date. And the fans gave up. The fans stopped caring. It's going to be very difficult to get the fans back involved and back on the MFT side. And the Wyatts, I mean, if you're doing Wyatts and MFTs, the Wyatts are only cheered because it's something affiliated and associated with Bray Wyatt. And everybody loves Bray. The group is led by his brother, Bo. But that doesn't mean it's a good group. They're suffering the same fate as the MFTs. They look great, they look the part, and people want to fucking cheer for them because they love Bray Wyatt, but you've done nothing to progress their story. They come out and they speak riddles every fucking week. Everything's hidden behind some secret message or a QR code. It's like, bro, can you just level with me and give me a fucking reason to care about who Joe Gacy is, who Dexter Loomis is, who fucking Nikki Cross is, who Eric Rowan is? why I, after all these years, finally see Bo Dallas back on my television, who we all know was a part of the B team. For years, we were told he was nothing more than a B player, a bench player. Now he's the leader of his brother's faction, the Wyatt family. I'm going to need more than that, bro. I can't sit here and just exude excitement. The thing that's going to get us to care is fleshing out a fucking story. Why are the MFTs and the Wyatt Six feuding? Why do they have a problem with each other? Is it because they feel like this is their turf? Bro, a fucking first grader could come up with that story. If that is the story you're going to go with, oh yeah, they feel like this is their show and the Wyatts are in their sandbox or they're invading their front lawn. But why? What is the problem? What does Solo want with Uncle Howdy? What was Uncle Howdy going to want with Solo Sikoa? What? You got to give me something. Especially if you're going to manufacture a possible war game situation. You can't just throw both of these factions in war games because that's it. There's 5 guys on one side and 5 people on the other side. Let's do war games. Are you kidding me? Has that been what the creative team has been reduced to? That? Not much here. MFT's win over Rey Fenix and Shinsuke Nakamura, and that was it. Nothing was progressed. Nothing was forwarded. No Wyatt Six. I don't know. Backstage, Jimmy Uso spoke with Nick Aldis. And our main event tonight, he wants a fight. Jimmy would be taking on Drew McIntyre in a no DQ match. Tiffany Stratton. She goes one-on-one with Kiana James. Backstage, there was a segment, not very good one. We got Julia talking on the phone. Who she was talking to, we don't know. Chelsea Green and Alba Fire showed up. Green said she wanted to merge brands with Julia. Alba Fire called Chelsea Green a trailblazer. Kiana James then showed up and said that Green is a discount diva, and there was no time to fit Julia into Chelsea Green's schedule. She's completely booked up. I still don't understand the partnership with Julia and how either one of them is benefiting the other. Match got started here. It was okay. If I'm going to grade this on a scale of sorts, it was okay. Not much here. I will say that I do think that Kiana James, you know, she doesn't, and this is the same thing I said about her in NXT when I first saw her, which she's now a lot more put together. She looks like she put on some muscle and she put on some size, which is great. Make yourself stand out in the division. I think she's got what it takes to really be a star in this division. If we're speaking honestly, we just need to see a little bit more of her, and we need to give her a fucking story where fans can actually see her and resonate with her. Right now, pairing her with Julia is not doing anything because Julia is a dead act, the title's a dead act, and Kiana is not really helping Julia, and Julia is not really helping Kiana. So it's like, where are we going with that? I do think that she works in that ring the way you need a woman to work in that ring. She works like a wrestler. She's not afraid to take a bump. She knows how to move around in there. So I actually quite like her, and I have high hopes for her, and I would love to see her succeed because I do think she's got a lot to like there. But as far as a fan point of view, there's no reason to fucking care. There's no reason. So we start things off. Stratton starts wrenching at Kiana's arm, showing us a little bit of their athleticism in the opening of this match. Stratton connected with consecutive arm drags on Kiana. She went right from the arm to a submission. James attempted to fight back with a forearm strike. She found herself on the receiving end of a drop kick by Tiffany. Big running hip attack against the turnbuckle. Center to the outside. Stratton continued with some right hands on Kiana. Julia comes over and distracts Stratton, which allowed Kiana James to throw Tiffany Stratton into the barricade, and we go into a commercial break. We come back from the break. Kiana takes out Stratton with a big running boot. James is trying to punch at Stratton, who comes back with a jawbreaker, and then she's down and Tiffany is down. So both women are struggling to get up, and they start striking one another back and forth. Stratton got the better of James and nailed a handspring elbow into the corner, followed by Tiffany's Alabama Slam. Stratton connected on a rolling senton, couldn't capitalize with the prettiest moonsault ever, so she rolled through off the top rope. James came back, saw an opening after the missed moonsault with a Falcon Arrow, which looked great, and she got a cover and a near fall. So now in the corner, James placed Stratton on the top rope, couldn't get the superplex that she wanted, so she was shoved aside to the canvas. Stratton came out of the corner off the top rope with a swanton bomb, and then followed up with the PME, the prettiest moonsault ever for the 1, 2, 3. Wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. There's just no reason to care. And basically, after what happened here in this match, and then we got the post-match, the match didn't really mean anything. It was just a background to what really was the newsworthy item in this segment, and that was the Jade Cargill heel turn. So after the match was over, Stratton's victory was cut short by Julia, who attacked. She hit Tiffany with the Arrivederci knee. Julia is beating up on Tiffany. Jade Cargill ran out and sent Julia running away after a pump kick. Julia and James back off, and Jade Cargill offered Tiffany Stratton some help up, who accepted the help of someone who she's wrestled in the past for the Women's Championship. So, all of a sudden, Jade Cargill abruptly clotheslines Tiffany down, and Jade Cargill refused to help her in the end. She beat the shit out of her, throws her into the ringside steel steps and into the ring post on the outside. Stratton took a beating here. Cargill continued to stomp away at her behind the commentary table. Referees and officials came out, and they could not pull Jade Cargill off of Tiffany. Stratton's leg was planted alongside one of the steel steps, and Cargill stomped on it before she ended up finally walking away. She gets into the ring. She holds up the Women's Championship. She looks at it for a little bit and admires it. She puts it down, and clearly, visually, we know where her mind is at. She wants to be the next WWE Women's Champion. I don't want to repeat myself from what I said about Jade Cargill in the open of this show, but it was a necessary change, something that we needed to see, and I'm glad that we got it. But because it's only going to help Jade Cargill from this point on. The old Jade and them continuing with the old Jade would do absolutely nothing. So I'm glad the creative team has finally came up with a solution to at least change one of its bigger names and make sure that what she does on the show now makes sense and, most importantly, feels natural. She is a natural heel. She was a natural heel, faking it to be a babyface, and it never worked. This is going to work. For all the reasons that I said in the opening. She now gets to play the real-life her. She gets to sound and speak and play the fans as the real-life her. And she gets to work a much different style of match where she doesn't have to go out there and do the prettiest moves or the biggest moves or the most powerful moves. She now dictates what she does in that ring with everybody. Working heel is much different than working babyface. In fact, it's much more easier to work a heel and be a heel than it is a babyface. And I think this is a great start to rebuilding Jade Cargill so that WWE could get their return on their investment, because at this point, after 2 years, they simply have not. And if you don't like that because you're a Jade mark or you're one of these weird stands on social media, that's exactly the truth of the matter. I want to see her succeed. This division needs it desperately. Hopefully they know what they're doing. Sami Zayn congratulated Ilja Dragonov on his U.S. title victory last week. What a match that was, huh? Ilja Dragonov beat Sami Zayn as the new United States champion. Sami congratulated him. Dragonov told him how much he respects him. Sami said the U.S. title open challenge was important and that he was passing it on to Dragonov. Sami gave his full endorsement to Ilja Dragonov. And Dragonov was just like leveling up, man. He was getting intense. He was like shaking with excitement. He was ready. He was like hulking up there. And then he goes to the ring and he gets ready for his open challenge. Now, I don't know how many people were hoping that the open challenges were going to hopefully take a back seat after Sami Zayn. I think WWE is now venturing into, and granted, it's still the best part of the show. But I think if WWE continues to do it week after week after week, they're simply using it as a crutch because they don't know what else to do. WWE is getting extremely lazy in certain aspects with their show. This is one of them. And again, don't misconstrue or take me out of context. The Open Challenge is still the best part of SmackDown because it signifies professional wrestling. Sami Zayn gave us 7 weeks of great professional wrestling. He's one of the best professional wrestlers in the world, as is Ilja Dragonov. But Dragonov is now taking upon the U.S. Championship Open Challenge. And he's basically going to be doing the same thing that Sami Zayn did against the same opponents that Sami Zayn wrestled. Because there is nobody else. Who else is there? Everybody that Sami wrestled is everybody that SmackDown houses. So Dragonov is going to wrestle everybody that Sami Zayn wrestled. Unless you call up somebody from NXT. How are you going to differentiate this open challenge from Sami Zayn's open challenge? And I still look at open challenges as lame. No matter how good they are, no matter how good the matches are, they're still lame. It's just lazy creative for people who don't know any better. That's the best they got for Dragonov. Yeah, he'll adopt the open challenge. WWE is going to venture one of these weeks. You're going to feel it, and I'm going to tell you. WWE is going to venture into 1 week, and it's just going to feel like it's overstayed its welcome. They can't do it with everybody. Like, it worked for John Cena, and then after that, if anybody else tried what John Cena tried, it wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to be as good as John Cena. Now, luckily, they got Dragonov, who is a fucking unbelievable professional wrestler. Sami Zayn, I mean, they could wrestle circles around most of the roster. But again, how are you going to make this different than what we just saw for almost 2 months with Sami Zayn? He already wrestled Black tonight. Black was one of the guys that Sami Zayn wrestled. The only thing that's going to change is the order in which that they happen. WWE is going to get dangerously close to this overstaying its welcome. I'm telling you right now. Kathy Kelly caught up to Jade Cargill, who was walking in the back, and asked if she was going to worry about the consequences for what happened out there with Tiffany Stratton. Jade Cargill basically said she's going to take the WWE Women's Championship. What worked before clearly did not work, and she needed to make changes. So that's exactly what she did. Patience is not rewarded. She's going to take what she feels is hers. Ilja Dragonov defends against Aleister Black in the United States Open Challenge. Black is obviously led by his wife, Zelina Vega, which I'm glad that they've finally acknowledged. I know WWE loves to be petty. There is a time to be petty and a time not to be petty. I don't know exactly what happened with Karrion Kross and Scarlett outside of what we have been given information-wise, whether it was from Kross on an interview or a podcast after he was not brought back and they let his contract expire, or what Scarlett had said in regards to how she was feeling in the last days of her WWE run. I don't think this is the time or the instance to be petty. I don't know what Cross and Scarlett did that was so evil and so wrong to WWE that I feel in this instance, WWE is simply trying to make Aleister Black and Zelina Vega their new Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Now, it could be simple optics. Maybe WWE did not want to bring back Karrion Kross and Scarlett and pay them what they wanted, which was probably more than what Black and Zelina Vega are making. Why have both of the same act on different shows doing the same thing when we can get rid of one, save money, and just make Aleister Black and Zelina Vega the new Karrion Kross and Scarlett? Because that's the vibe I get. And I think that's fucked up. Because Kross said several times that this is where he wanted to be. This is where he wanted to call home. This is where he wanted to retire. And maybe the things that he did were against WWE creative, and he tried to push his own narrative, and he tried to make things happen away from WWE, which we all know WWE doesn't like when you try to get yourself over. Different administration, same mindset. Vince hated when you got yourself over because it wasn't in Vince's plans. And if you got yourself over and it wasn't the plan, then you were punished for getting yourself over. Sadly, Karrion Kross found out the hard way, like father, like son-in-law. It sucks to hear that, and it sucks to say that, because I do think that there are vast differences between the two gimmicks and the two people. I don't know why they couldn't work together in some sense if that's what you wanted to do. I don't know why we just so blatantly and actively replaced one with the other. Maybe it's just a monetary thing, and WWE didn't want two similar gimmicks on different shows when they could just have one, and they have one already locked in for a 5-year deal. We got these two who are going to be locked here for a very long time. We don't need the other two because we're just going to take what they did and give it to Black and Vega. I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going on. That same thing that I just described about getting yourself over, I feel like LA Knight at some point, someone in creative, someone in WWE management does not like LA Knight. Sadly. I think they look at LA Knight as a pretender. I think they look at LA Knight as a throwback in the wrong kind of way. And I think LA Knight is looked at in a way where he's trying to do what others have done before him to try and get over, and it's not original, and someone is taking that out on him. Which is fucking ridiculous. But someone in management does not like LA Knight. Because there's no explanation at all why LA Knight continues to be a loser and is nowhere closer to a world championship after all these years of maintaining fan and crowd interest. If the fan reaction dictates, and if the fan reaction is a good indication of where you should be, LA Knight should be a world heavyweight champion by now. If Jey Uso can get over by fan reaction and be rewarded with a world heavyweight championship, why isn't LA Knight, who's a better in-ring worker and a better promo than Jey Uso, why isn't he rewarded with a world heavyweight championship? Unless it's not the right place and the right time for that to happen, and WWE is picking and choosing where they want to go with him. Maybe they have a calculated strategy for LA Knight that we're not seeing yet. But WWE creative has largely been awful this year. It's tough to give them that benefit of the doubt. It's got to be Bruce. Bruce Pritchard would be the first person I would think of. Absolutely. Triple H was the one who brought LA Knight back and gave him the gimmick and undid what Vince McMahon wanted to do. So it can't be Triple H. It's got to be somebody else. But at the end of the day, Triple H is the one who makes the ultimate final decision. It's a collection of decisions. It's a collection of people there who are just absolutely stifling LA Knight. Maybe that's it. Maybe he's not L.A. Fatu. That's exactly what he needs to be. He needs to get some tribal tattoos, and he needs to get a fucking Yeet t-shirt, and he needs to change his name from Knight to L.A. Fatu. Maybe if he was a part of the Samoan tribe, maybe he'd at least be Intercontinental Champion. This match with Dragonov and Black was very, very good. Easily, by far, the best thing on the entire show. Black is so good, as is Dragonov, man. SmackDown's got one hell of a mid-card. I'll tell you that, man. They got one hell of a mid-card. Hopefully, they can make this different than what Sammy did. So Dragonov actually opened this match with a promo, or actually opened this segment with the promo before we got to the match. He was out there. They gave him a microphone. He's very well spoken. He made his way to the ring. He's got the belt with him. He grabbed the microphone. He was showered with "You deserve it" chants. He's going to get over. He's going to get over the way that they want, just based on his body work, man. He does things in there that you rarely see from anybody else on the roster. He thanked the fans, said that his year recovery was full of highs and lows. He said at certain points he didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but he knew that he would never give up because of the obsession he carried in his heart. And that is why he is the new United States champion. He said he would defend that belt with all his obsession because it is his duty to continue the legacy of the Open Challenge. And he finished with his new catchphrase, which I very much like. And he says, "Pain will entertain you." I like it. It's like a fucking, it's like, I could picture Dragonov sitting in a fucking James Bond scene. And he's got James Bond held captive after several minutes of a long chase and several gunfights, and James Bond is subdued, and Dragonov comes in, and he's got James Bond all tied up, and he's about to fucking take it to James Bond and kill him and attempt to fucking eliminate him. Pain will entertain you. Love it. It's great. True Crime Unleashed says in the chat, JD Stevie Richards said in a recent podcast that Bruce has final on who gets the push. There you go. Bruce Pritchard would be my first guess in any one of those types of situations. Fuck Bruce Pritchard.
Pain will entertain you.
Anyway, this was a great match. We begin things here after the promo. And this went about 15 minutes or so. Black and Dragonov locked up. Big kicks. Black countered the Constantine special with a kick before Zelina Vega threw Dragonov into the barricade with a Hurricane Rana. That's exactly what Vega did with Andrade, man. When she was there with Andrade, she always did that little Hurricane Rana spot behind the referee's back, and she got involved, and she was just very strategic in where she placed herself in the match. So I like to see that continuing, or at least I liked that is continuing here with Aleister Black. So after that, Black absolutely took it to Dragonov with a big running kick to the face from the apron, sends him back to the outside, and we go into a commercial break. So Black and Dragonov, they're exchanging fierce blows as the champ here connected with Enziguri, took Black down. Dragonov followed that with a running strike in the corner. Dragonov then threw Black around with German suplexes, one after another. Dragonov headed to the top rope. Vega created a distraction, which allowed Black to stop Dragonov's attack. From the top, Black hit a Meteora, took down Dragonov. Follow that up with a suplex attempt, which was turned into a roll-up by Dragonov for a 2. Black once again drove a knee to the back of Dragonov, but couldn't get the 3. Black failed to connect on a springboard attack as Dragonov comes back with the Constantine special, which he tried early in the match. Did not connect, but he got it in this instance. We go into a second commercial break. So we come back from the second commercial. Dragonov is on the top rope. Drop kick on Black. He flew from the top with a senton bomb for 2. Dragonov had Black targeted for Torpedo Moscow, and he was met with a knee to the face. That was a great spot. So he was in midair, and Black just jumped up with a jumping knee and took him out midair. Black had Dragonov in his sights for Black Mass. He missed, and he finally falls victim to Torpedo Moscow. Dragonov got up and attempted to finish him off with the H-bomb. Zelina pulled at his leg. So the referee saw this. She got ejected. Damian Priest, all of a sudden, his music hits. He comes down to the ring, and he's got eyes on Black, who shot a fireball in his face a few weeks ago. Priest removed his sunglasses to reveal the burn mark he got from Black and Vega by setting him on fire. That was long enough for Torpedo Moscow to hit from Dragonov, and he finally hit 1, 2, 3. Post-match, Priest, who is angry, attacked Black. He took 2 steel chairs, and he cleared the commentary table. He looked to dish out some revenge on Aleister Black. Zelina Vega leapt onto Priest across the back, scratched at the burn on his eye. Ow! That sounds like it fucking blows. So she knew exactly what she was doing. That allowed Black to escape and Vega to escape. That sounds like it is a rough night for Black. So it looks like they're continuing that. I don't know where they go with that. Maybe they get a match at Saturday night's main event, ending the sequence of events here so that they can move on to something completely different. But they needed to protect Black because Black already lost to Zayn in the open challenge. You don't want to have him challenge for the United States Championship again with a different opponent and ultimately lose again. So they sent Black out there to continue the feud. They sent Priest, rather, out there to continue the feud with Black. Even though I'm kind of over it, Damian Priest is going to need to get his revenge. When, where, I don't know. Maybe a stipulation behind it. This street fight was great in Australia on that Friday before Crown Jewel. So if it's more like that, let's do it one more time. But after that, that's it. Both guys need to move on to something completely different. But they needed to protect Black here. He could not take a clean loss to Dragonov. And simply because he's already challenged for the United States title, you don't want him to challenge the title for the title twice and lose twice. So I'm glad that they at least protected him in that sense. Carmelo Hayes. He was interviewed by Kathy Kelly about his attack on The Miz last week. Hayes said everyone was expecting him to say he was happy to attack The Miz, but he wasn't going to do that because revenge is a double-edged sword. Hayes noted that he wasn't ready to get his career back on track. With thanks to the support of the people, he owes it to them to get back to being him. So as far as he is concerned, he's even with The Miz. That's it. He wants to move on. All of a sudden, Kit Wilson interrupted this promo with Carmelo Hayes and started trashing Carmelo Hayes for being a proponent of toxic masculinity. And he found himself in a match next week against Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown. I don't know why they're trying to make this thing a thing with Kit Wilson. I can tell you right now that this is not going to get over. Nobody wants to see it, and nobody wants to hear about it. Dragonov was aching and holding his neck after a hard-fought match with Black. He walked around the backstage area where Fraxium greeted him. Nathan Frazier asked him when he was going to get a title shot, and then Axiom did the same thing. Dragonov said that anyone could have a shot because that was the beauty of the open challenge. DIY showed up. Tommaso Ciampa called them Pinky and the Brain. Axiom pointed out that Johnny Gargano supposedly wanted to wrestle him this week, but he was too scared. Finally, Tama Tonga showed up and made weird gestures that confused Fraxium and basically everybody that was viewing this segment. Now, if we're going to get Nathan Frazier or Axiom against Dragonov, sign me up. That's a great way to differentiate the open challenge. Putting guys like that in there. Johnny Gargano versus Ilja Dragonov. Tommaso Ciampa versus Ilja Dragonov. Sign me up. That's a great way to differentiate the open challenge from what we got and the opponents that what we got in the Sami Zayn open challenge. I like it. I'm also interested in a DIY Fraxium feud, or if you want to give me Axiom versus Johnny Gargano, or Tommaso Ciampa versus Nathan Frazier, I'll take that too. Love all these guys. Let's get them on TV a little bit more. Let's get them in front of that audience. Let's get them out there doing what they do so that they can own the audience, and the audience could see how great they are, and they could start being a fixture on the shows. The only way you're going to get over in front of the audience is if you are in front of the audience. So many weeks have gone by. No Fraxium. What happened to the tag team division on this show? Kathy Kelly caught up with the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, about how Bayley said they should show up on Raw to take on her and Lyra. They says they should show them what champions look like. Nia Jax walked up to belittle both Charlotte and Alexa Bliss and ended up challenging Bliss to a match next week. You know, I thought SmackDown was going to actually turn a corner and not make a U-turn back in the direction in which they came. Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss. Who the fuck asked for that? Jimmy Uso. He went one-on-one with Drew McIntyre in the main event. This went 12 minutes. And this basically is stemming from the open of the show where Jimmy talked to Cody. Jimmy told Cody that he was there for answers and looking for Nick Aldis on what happened with Jacob Fatu because he thinks Drew McIntyre took out his cousin. Jimmy wants some revenge on Drew McIntyre, who he thinks took out Jacob Fatu. Drew McIntyre had some choice words for Jimmy Uso in the opening segment, saying that he didn't do it. He hates the family. Jimmy Uso came out there, attacked Drew McIntyre not once but twice, once outside in the arena and then once in the back. They made the match tonight, no DQ. Short synopsis of how we got here. Things got going right away as Uso and McIntyre brawled at ringside before everything got back into the ring. McIntyre continued to beat on Uso in the corner with some strikes. He found himself lit up with chops to the chest. McIntyre struck Uso with a big kick to the chest. More punishments brought by McIntyre upon Big Jim. Uso fought back, clothesline McIntyre to the outside. Followed this up with an attempted suicide dive that was met with a forearm. And that stopped his momentum. Now we're at ringside. Uso slammed McIntyre's face across the steel steps, which sent McIntyre retreating into the crowd. Uso followed, and the fight continued into the stands. McIntyre attempted a DDT on the floor, but got countered into a suplex by Uso. McIntyre was thrown back over the barricade to the ringside area. Uso obliged when the crowd started chanting, "We want tables!" Every time there's a no DQ match, you can guarantee that there is a "We want tables" chant from the fucking brainless marks who paid to be there. So, we want tables. He pulls the table out from underneath the ring, and we go into a commercial break. We come back. McIntyre lifted Uso onto his shoulders, instead of getting blasted with a kick to the head. Outside the ring, Uso walked across the barricade in hopes of nailing a big Uso splash, but he got caught by McIntyre, who threw him in position for a belly-to-belly suplex onto the floor outside. McIntyre grabbed a steel chair from the timekeeper's area and immediately started hitting Uso in the ribs with it before taking the chair across the back of Uso. McIntyre then unfolded the chair and smashed Uso's face on the seated portion. He set Uso up for a Claymore, but a drop toe hold instead sent Drew McIntyre face first onto the chair. Uso started to fire up. He hits Uso in the wind, which is just basically Jeff Hardy's whisper in the wind, off the top rope. He goes for a cover. He gets a 2 count. Uso grabbed the chair and went to town on McIntyre with repeated strikes before he sets up the table. Big Jim with the Slim Jim table. It's one of those instances where the marketing was picture perfect. Big Jim with the Slim Jim table. Uso tried to grab at McIntyre, who was caught by surprise with a Future Shock DDT. Goes for a cover, gets another near fall. McIntyre tried to go for another Claymore, but he was intercepted with a Samoan drop onto the table, and Big Jim put Drew McIntyre through the Slim Jim table. Uso tried to go up for the Uso Splash. McIntyre threw a chair at his face. This allowed McIntyre to finish things off with a Claymore kick that turned Jimmy Uso inside out. And Drew McIntyre, predictably, because there's no way he was going to lose this match when he was just announced to wrestle Cody Rhodes at Saturday night's main event. Claymore kick, 1, 2, 3, and Drew McIntyre beats Big Jim. When Jimmy Uso and Drew McIntyre is your weekly main event for SmackDown, you know you're in a bad place. Just saying. After the match, McIntyre placed Uso's neck across a chair and pressed it against him, which led officials coming down as he was choking him out in the middle of the ring. Just then, Cody Rhodes ran down, got into a scrap with Drew McIntyre, threw him over the timekeeper's area. McIntyre recovered and took Rhodes out with a Claymore. And that's the way the show went off the air, with Drew McIntyre leveling Cody Rhodes with a Claymore to end this week's Friday Night SmackDown. You know, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was just boring. There wasn't really anything substantial to sink your teeth into. Jade Cargill turned heel. Fine. That's a pretty newsworthy thing. And I know some people may be excited about that. Then we got Dragonov versus Black. But outside that, the simplistic stories, the very, very minute stories that we got with Jimmy and Cody and Drew, it's like, is it enough to hold SmackDown up for the week and really give you something to get excited about going into next week? The answer is no. The answer is no. I wouldn't say they dropped the ball. I just wouldn't say it was necessarily a good show. It was all right, but WWE still clearly has a lot of work to do on Friday night. Thank you guys very much for all of your support. We are going to get into your super chats. If you guys want to get your super chats in, they will be open and will remain open until the end of the show. Get them on in. It's the best way to support what we do here each and every night. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Please go check out all the great content on the channel. There's plenty of it on the homepage. We got some new content coming tomorrow. Look out for that. Hit that thumbs up. Let's try for, we're not even at 500 likes, guys. What the fuck? What the fuck happened tonight? Not even 500 likes. Let's get that thumbs up number up. Big time. Tonight's show is sponsored by BetterHelp. You guys know the deal about BetterHelp. Wrestling fans, even the toughest superstars hit a rough patch sometimes. Maybe it's stress, maybe it's burnout, maybe it's that voice in your head booking bad creative like Tony Khan 24/7. But you don't have to face it alone. We all love to vent to our buddies, a bartender, maybe even on Twitter, to complete strangers. But not everyone's the right tag team partner for life's biggest matches. That's where BetterHelp comes in. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who's trained to help you work through life's challenges. It's completely online, so you can schedule sessions when it fits your day. No travel, no waiting room, no cutting a promo about your problems in public. BetterHelp's been doing this for over 10 years, helping people find the right therapist match through a simple questionnaire. And if that's your first match and it doesn't feel right, you can switch therapists anytime. No extra cost, no hard feelings, and no heel turns. With over 30,000 licensed professionals and 5 million people helped, BetterHelp is like the world's biggest roster of trusted mental health pros. They're all in your corner. So if you're ready to stop fighting solo and tag someone in who can help, give BetterHelp a try. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Find the one with BetterHelp. Our listeners tonight get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/script. That's betterhelp.com/script. And I want to thank them for once again supporting the podcast right here on Off the Script. Let's get into your super chats, which by all accounts here is a very, very light and slow night. So I'll be on Battlefield 6 in about 5 minutes. Guess everybody was sleeping through this show tonight. Michael Krause with a $2 super chat. JDOTS, hope everyone has a great weekend. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Joseph Taylor with a $5 super chat. Jade Cargill turns heel. It doesn't change the fact that I don't want her winning the title. She is the biggest bust TKO has signed. You're not wrong there, Joseph. There's a lot of people that may actually agree with your opinion there. Twister1296 with a $4.99. Good show. Shriek for SmackDown is over. Terrible show. Yeah, it wasn't their best effort tonight. A very, I would say, very straightforward, very lame, very formulaic show. Nothing overly exciting. Michelle Moran with a 2. Tonight's show that SmackDown is void of main event talent. Yep. It's tough when Randy Orton's fucking on permanent sabbatical over here. I don't know where the fuck he is. Thomas Malloy with 32 months. Cheers to 32 months. How's your Pokemon card collections coming along? Keep up the great work, sir. Bro, I haven't collected anything since... what was it? I haven't collected anything since Stellar Crown. Bro, I look at the prices for Pokemon cards nowadays, bro, and it's a major, major, major turnoff for collecting. I would have loved to get some of the recent sets, but, bro, I'm not paying $15 to $20 a pack, bro. It's... no way. Absolutely no way. I'll take my master set of 151... Obsidian Flames and Paradox Rift, and I'll sit on that until things come down, hopefully. Lavelle with a $5 super chat. Loved the Black and Zelina entrance, but couldn't stop thinking of Cross and Scarlet. Do you think they will overcome those comparisons? No. I do not. It's the first thing that everyone thought of. Sidro with a 5. When I was a kid, I got a telekinetic abacus for a birthday gift. It was the thoughts that counts. And what happens when you don't pay your exorcist? You get repossessed. I like it. Thank you, buddy. Sidro, if you're still in the chat, there's a YouTube channel I found. Go look up on YouTube. Synth Mage. M-A-G-E. All you need to do. Based CLC with a $9.99. They need to get Charlotte out of the tag team title picture and make her world champion. Here for another banger stream tonight. No, they don't need to make her world champion. They need to get rid of the tag team titles because they're dead and there is no division. They're nothing more than props. Both Alexa and Charlotte should be singles wrestlers. Chris Leon, 40 months. Blue Jays win 11-4. That's good. Very, very good. 1 down, 3 to go. Melee King, Sidro with a $5 super chat. Was on flight with my 3 kids. Lady asks, those your kids? I said, no. I work for a condom company. These are customer complaints. P.S. 1.5K Street Fighter 6 tourney tomorrow. Good luck, bro. My guy Triple M found Synth Mage earlier today. Yeah, it's fucking great, man. I'm sitting here listening to synth mage while I'm doing my work in the morning, man. It's like, oh, shit. I wonder if I could use some of these bangers on stream. Sidro, thank you, buddy. True Crime Unleashed with a $5 super chat. Saw a report earlier. Wyatt 6 versus MFTs in War Games with match graphics. Liv's return date is at the Rumble as well as Bianca. Yes, because SmackDown can't use Bianca now. I kind of had Liv Morgan pegged for the Royal Rumble anyway. That's not a surprise. Tony Brown with a $5 super chat. JD, Jade and I have something in common. I can't wrestle and neither can she. Tony Brown, for some reason, I think you would actually fare better than Jade. Sidro with a 2. Andrade goes into Hall of Fame for most rehired wrestler. Yeah. Yeah, that's just... I've never seen anything like that in our timeline, bro. I mean, that's from one to the next, from one to the next. It's like... Hollywood guy with a 10. I think they should do a United States Open with Julia, keeping her away from Kiana and make Julia interesting. And I think that KO attacked Fatu. No, Kevin Owens did not attack Fatu. Kevin Owens is going to be out well into 2026. He may not even be back in 26. Based CLC with a $4.99. Simple. LNI doesn't get shit-faced drunk and say yeet. That's why he's not world champ. You may be right. Yes. I have Liv Morgan pegged for the Royal Rumble. Who wouldn't love to peg Liv Morgan, huh? Anyway. Nick Morris with a $2 super chat. Thank you, buddy. Heel Jade can now work bigger and be a bully. Yes, exactly what I said. Judo Cobra with a $9.99. Why does WWE keep pushing the Usos in the main event? I get crowd reaction, but based on what you talk with story, there's better story to be told with higher main event talent. The only reason, Cobra, is because these characters already have built-in equity with the crowd, so the fans are going to resonate with them because of years of their story being the focus on television. That's why they do it. They're afraid to venture elsewhere. That's the problem. And then the Cards fan, 47, with a $4.99. Why do they keep burying Drew McIntyre? Well, let's wait till after Saturday night's main event. I think we may see a new WWE champion. At that point, if he loses again, then I think we can start coming back to that conversation. Guys, thank you for tonight. I mean, we were slow. Fridays are slow. There's a lot going on. NBA's back. Game 1 of the World Series was on. This show was boring. So you mix that all into one big presentation. Nobody's going to find interest in pro wrestling, man. So there's not interesting shit happening tonight. Nobody's going to find interest in watching us cover the show. It's just the way of the world. Thank you guys very much for all your support. I got you out of here in under 2 hours. I did what I could. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Make sure you go and check out all the content on the channel. There is plenty of it, including tomorrow's upload. We're going to talk about Jericho and Andrade, both possibly headed to the WWE. And the next time you see me live, we'll be right back here on Monday. Hopefully they got some exciting stuff happening. Saturday night's main event's going to be a big one. We'll see what happens Monday night. That week's going to be big, man. We'll be back live for Raw. Until then, guys, thank you very much for all your support. And I'll see you back tomorrow with more extra right here on Off the Script. I'll see you guys later.